This is where MAGA comes to talk, and I'm just setting up here. We're going to be on the air in a few minutes, and I'm just getting set up. We got a lot to cover on the program this morning. Oh my goodness. Laura Loomer is just doing amazing reporting on this Signal story. That's what I'm going to start with. Laura Loomer is just like insanely good. I mean, she's like the best journalist we got. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe.
Everybody from the FBI and the DOJ who was involved in persecuting and going after January 6ers. Well. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We'll be on the air in just a few minutes. I'm just setting up still. So you got to bear with me a little bit. Okay, I'm just queuing up the stuff I'm going to lead with today. Welcome, everyone. I got this at the gas station this morning. I have had half of it. How much water are you supposed to have a day? This is 1.5 liters. I can't remember what happened with Tim Pool and Loomer. That was a little while ago. There's so much stuff happens, it's hard to keep track of all this influencer drama. Well, 8 glasses, yeah, but if I'm drinking these 1.5 liters of water, how many 1.5 liters a day is 8 glasses? You know what I mean?
Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or
2 of these a day? Wow, I am very dehydrated. Yeah, I know, but I filled up my, you know, because I have the Angel water at home, I filled up my big Stanley cup with water from home from my Angel water purifier, and I left it. I left it on the table by the front door where I keep my keys when I left, so I picked this up at the gas station. I've got my coffee here too, but I need to drink water.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a true oldies brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
For construction, Okeechobee Boulevard and Harper Road, Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, and Zoning and Drama. Spot something on the road, call the traffic tip line. Down 250 keyword West Palm traffic. Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. This March,
We'll be live.
in the poker room.
Well, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it.
Get a chance to win a piece of the $10,000 cash giveaway on Saturday. Plus, there's 65 tables of action with cash games, new and exciting tournaments, and bad beat jackpots. Our table game area features ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum 7 days a week.
Welcome to Florida, Janet.
To win at pbkennelclub.com.
Hi, it's Brian Craig. Let me ask you this. Are you planning on retiring in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, at any point in your life? Or are you already retired? Listen, economically, it's a mess.
But with all that water, I'm gonna have to take more bathroom breaks during the show.
The highest inflation rate in 40 years. You need a plan of action for your retirement plans. You need the advice of a retirement expert who can help you protect your money. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I've had this shirt for quite some time. This is President Trump's high school graduation photo on this shirt. A listener sent me this shirt. It's a good shirt. It's a good one. MAGA forever. That's right. MAGA for life.
Mention my name, Brian Craig, and receive a free copy of his ebook. Go to JupiterJoe.com or call 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. Take advantage of his free phone consultation too. JupiterJoe.com or call 561-743-0999. Waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to Minilab.
If you'd like to call in, please do. I will pin the number in the chat.
Guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor can order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only 2 advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers, whatever car or truck you have.
Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And Laura Loomer has dropped some big news I'm going to cover. Yeah, Laura Loomer has the biggest story of the day, and that's what I'm going to lead with.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All right, we are back on this Thursday morning. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It is Thursday, March 27th, 2025, and Laura Loomer has broken the biggest story of the day, but because the mainstream media hate and are jealous of Laura Loomer, they're not going to cover it, but I'm going to share it with you. She was on the War Room yesterday with this, and it is a massive story involving the Signal Gate. So I'm going to go through this with Loomer. I'm just going to get right into it. Now, she's posted on X. You know, the last thing you want is Laura Loomer on your tail, because if Laura Loomer's on your tail, you're done. You're totally exposed. You really are. Listen to this. Laura Loomer posted, and this is not the big news. This is just a little tease that she put out. This is on X, Laura Loomer. There are a lot of people around President Trump who have things to hide. Everything comes to light. Just know that. And if you hide information from President Trump, I'm going to identify you and make you famous. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So this Signal chat story is getting bigger and bigger each and every day. And Mike Walls, the longer this goes on, Mike Walls is in more and more trouble, okay? Laura Loomer has identified the Mike Walls staffer who added the Atlantic reporter to the Signal chat. Now, the problem for Mike Walls is he said he didn't know this guy from the Atlantic, this never Trumper fake news reporter, but they have a photograph of him at an event standing next to him and some other things. But that's not the big story that Loomer broke today. Alex Wong, W-O-N-G, Alex Wong is the Mike Walls staffer that added the Atlantic reporter to the Signal chat. Alex Wong. And Laura Loomer has been investigating Alex Wong. Listen to this. He is the Deputy National Security Advisor. And I don't know what that means. You know, there are a lot of deputies and a lot of titles. But Alex Wong is the staffer that added the Atlantic reporter to the chat. Listen to this. Laura Loomer. Deputy National Security Advisor Alec Wong's father-in-law had direct ties to the CCP. That's right. This is his wife's father. The father of Alex Wong's wife, who is the Deputy National Security Advisor under Michael Waltz, who is now at the center of the Signal Gate scandal, has a direct tie to the CCP and the People's Liberation Army of China via his 23-year-long career with AsiaSat, which is the leading satellite solutions provider in Asia. AsiaSat Holdings is jointly owned by Chinese state-owned CITIC Limited and a private equity fund, the Carlyle Group. Oh, the Carlyle Group. There's an oldie but a goodie. This is all reporting from Laura Loomer. So we have a Chinese spy on the staff. You know, would you, if you were doing national security at the federal government, would you be reluctant to hire Asian people? AsiaSat is essentially partial. This is Laura Loomer here. I'm reading from her ex. AsiaSat is essentially partially owned by the CCP as a state-owned entity in China. Alex Wong, now remember, Alex Wong is Mike Waltz's staffer, and Wong is the person who's been identified as adding the Atlantic reporter to the Signal chat. Alex Wong's father-in-law was a key figure in the early development of AsiaSat. He joined the company in '89 and played a pivotal role in its technical operations, according to records Laura Loomer has uncovered. As a senior technical overseer of AsiaSat, Wong's father-in-law managed all aspects of launches of all these satellites, which I don't need to list, while also supervising the maintenance and operations of the company's satellite fleet. So, you know, this is China in 1989, before Clinton even gave them the rocket technology. AsiaSat is Asia's first privately owned satellite company, and it's a Chinese company. They've provided communication services that reportedly support Chinese military units and enterprises owned by the Chinese military, raising questions about its broader geopolitical implications. All that I'm reading from you is Laura Loomer's reporting. She posted all this on her ex. Michael Waltz's staffer, Mr. Wong, his father-in-law has personal ties that extend into the United States, national security circles as well. He is the father of Alex Wong's wife, the current Deputy National Security Advisor under Michael Waltz. His family connection has drawn attention to AsiaSat's operations, particularly given its ownership structure. In 1990, the China International Trust and Investment Corporation, a Chinese state-owned investment firm wholly controlled by the Chinese government, acquired a significant stake in AsiaSat. Their involvement underscores the company's ties to Beijing, amplifying concerns about the potential overlap between its commercial activities and Chinese state interest, including military communications. Laura Loomer writes this: I have been told by sources that Senator Tom Cotton is the individual who helped Alex Wong ascend the ladder in Trump world. Why didn't Senator Tom Cotton do any vetting if he's such a China hawk? How come it took my own independent investigation to figure this out? The vetting crisis continues to worsen. Alex Wong has been working with the Trump administration since 2017. And he was on the Signal chat, which Jeffrey Goldberg was added to. Alex Wong was the Deputy Assistant Secretary for North Korea in the Bureau of East Asian and Pacific Affairs from 2017 to 2021. Many believe, according to Laura Loomer, and let me tell you, I have learned never to question the reporting and conclusions of Laura Loomer. She is always right. I have never known her to have to retract or walk back anything that she's reported. By the time she goes public with a story, she has vetted it. Many believe that Alex Wong is the person who set the Signal chat up and added the Atlantic to the secure chat. How is it that Alex Wong's father-in-law's ties to the CCP were not reviewed or disclosed before he was given access to classified information? His wife, Alex Wong, now if your father-in-law is with the CCP, doesn't that probably mean you are too? His wife is a U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. So we have this senior CCP guy. His daughter is a United States attorney for the District of Columbia, which President Trump is thinking of changing to the District of America, which I think is spectacular. I hope that comes true. And she has all the documents, Laura Loomer, all of the documents. And she printed the document or scanned the documents and posted them on this post. Now, this post of hers on X, I did repost it on X. If you follow me on X, she has everything there. And she has photographs. She has the documents. She's highlighted the important parts. She's shown you her research. This is insane. So we have a Chinese CCP spy that set up the signal chat and added the Atlantic reporter. That's it. Boom. And this story, have you seen this story anywhere? I know Laura Loomer was on the War Room yesterday about this, but other than the War Room and me, has anyone broadcast this story? They're not going to. They're not going to. For a lot of reasons. Not just because they hate Laura Loomer, but for a lot of reasons. This is part of the effort. You know, remember General Milley called up the Chinese army head, the Chinese general in charge of the entire Chinese army on January 6th. So the ties between the Never Trumpers and the permanent Washington class and China are strong. So they don't want you to know about this. And you know what? We wouldn't know about this if it wasn't for Loomer. So I'm going to continue to follow Loomer on this. This is huge stuff. All right. We're going to take our first break of this day. Our number is 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
I'll be right back, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Or, even simpler, you can go to JupiterJoe.com. Mention my name, John Pesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies.
All right, and remember, guys, Sunday is the day we set sail on the cruise, and you guys, so next week, this time, well, we would have already gone to our first we might be at our second or third I don't know the whole schedule, but I'll be somewhere in the ocean next Thursday, and I'm very excited. And remember, those of you that are joining us, make sure you bring your MAGA gear, okay? Bring your MAGA gear. I'm going to be bringing mine. In fact, before I left the house, I put a whole bunch of my MAGA shirts in the wash for the cruise. I'm going to start packing today, but all my MAGA gear. And next week, obviously we'll have best ofs on the radio while we're off next week. But if you follow me on YouTube, I will be on YouTube next week. Brian Craig Show on YouTube. I'll be doing live streams and things from the ship and the Caribbean Sea and the islands that we'll be at. So you guys can stow away with us a little bit through YouTube. All right. So if you're just tuning in, Laura Loomer broke the biggest story of the day yesterday afternoon on this Signal chat, which is a big story. I mean, if you're on hold, hang in there. I just want to do a quick recap for people that are just waking up and tuning in. But they timed this. This guy had this story like 10 days before we knew about it from The Atlantic, and they held it and timed it to coincide with these congressional hearings that Tulsi and Radcliffe have been at this week, so they could bark at them on TV. What did Pete Hicks said? What do you know? And the media have not been sharing that part of it. So Laura Loomer has broken the story that Michael Waltz, he has a Chinese, a suspect, he has possibly a Chinese CCP spy as his number one guy on his staff who actually set up the Signal chat and added the Atlantic reporter to the chat. So we have the only question we have now, did Michael Waltz know? Right? Trump's sticking by him, so I'm always going to stick with whoever Trump is sticking with. But that's the question. There's no doubt this guy's got to be investigated, this Wong character. But what did Michael Waltz know, and when did he know it? That's the next question that's got to be solved. And I'm sure President Trump and his team are looking into all of this. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Richie.
Quite a story, but here's the deal. Laura Loomer, she actually signaled out this particular staffer and found all this information out. Now, I guarantee you that if she had the time and went through every congressman and every senator in Washington and every lobbyist, okay, she would find that there's so many Chinese spies in there that probably not just spies, probably the state of China has sent checks to all these people. We are infested.
Well, this thing, I've not talked to Loomer about this. I was going to call her, but I was still in recovery yesterday from yesterday. I'm all better, guys. She probably wouldn't reveal this, okay, because she's got to protect how she gathers information. But, I mean, how did she find out about this guy, all right? Somebody inside the Trump administration gave it to her, would be my guess. She's got sources, and it could have been the president himself. Someone inside the Trump administration gave her this information, would be my guess, about this Wong character. How else would she know?
Yeah, but you're a pretty smart guy, Brian. Now you're going to tell me that you don't think that, you don't think, I mean, you just have to take a look at every so often one pops up.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, Richie. When you're doing these things, if you make it too broad, nothing gets done or accomplished. You got to focus in on one thing, or everything's lost.
I understand. But my contention is that our particular government, with our politicians, I would say maybe 25 to 50% receive a check or have become rich on China.
Yes.
And while we become very...
Well, my guess would be this has a lot to see. This has a lot to do with China trying to stop Trump again. We know what they did last time. Oh my goodness! And now this time though, they outed their guy. I mean, what? You know, they really burned their agent. If this guy Wong is a Chinese spy, and it looks like he probably is, they outed him pretty early here. And it shows a panic in China over the tariffs and whatever else President Trump is doing.
Oh, I agree with you. But there's going to be there's probably a lot more Chinese spies.
Well, what good does it do to say that? What good does it do to say that? We've got one. We know his name. We know what he did. We know what kind of access he has. If you just say, well, they're all over the place, you get nothing done. And it makes it sound like it's no big deal. It's so commonplace. You gotta focus in.
I agree. We have them nailed right here. There'll be another one, and there'll be another one. Because I personally, my own personal opinion is that our whole government is linked.
Well, listen, maybe President Trump and his team smoked this guy out, you know, and there's no on purpose. Maybe this whole signal chat was no accident. Maybe they suspected this guy and they did this to smoke him out. But I know this, that Loomer, who's been covering Hunter Biden, came out with this story pretty quick. Okay, it had to be someone from the Trump administration that tipped her off to this.
You got to look at. We're going to go back to what you said earlier, Tom Cotton. What does he got to do with China? And I believe if you do research, you gotta get the.
You can't trust that guy. Remember, Tucker was saying he was the one trying. Now he denies this, Cotton, but Tucker said he was trying to stop the release of the JFK files. Tom Cotton, remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I really believe. I believe you got to look at Tom Cotton, where he's made his money. And what investments he has. Laura should get going, because this could be the biggest scandal than this one guy. This guy could be the sacrificial lamb. It was very easy for her about this stepper, but I wouldn't blame anybody in the Trump administration for this. But why would this guy put that guy Goldberg's name in there? Why?
Exactly.
They ought to have him in front of Congress.
Well, there's a lot of story. Listen, the media are not reporting this. Okay, what Laura Loomer broke, the media aren't reporting this. What the media are doing is trying to get rid of Waltz. They're trying to make everything about Waltz. And there's a lot of stories today that there were other liberal journalists in his contact list. Well, that doesn't mean he put him in there. And quite honestly, a few years ago, somehow, all of my contacts in Facebook, you know, like anybody that follows me on Facebook, got loaded in my phone contacts. I don't know who 90% of the people are in my contacts. I don't know who's in there. I have a hard time finding a number, you know.
Here's your question. Why would they want, and this has to do with all of it. They're talking about TikTok, that they're spying on all Americans because it's a Chinese. So in other words, I'm sorry, Brian, Tom Cotton has got to be, she ought to be investigating him. But it's going to go deep here. I mean, this could blow up. This could be a lot.
Well, I would say we should focus on this Wong character, his wife and his father-in-law, and don't say, well, this one and that one and that one, and then nothing gets done. You've got to focus in on one person and crook and expose them.
How about Mitch McConnell's wife's family? Come on, how could he be when he?
All right, Richie. Richie just doesn't get it. See, Richie, you know, I love Richie, but Richie, since he worked for the government his whole life, he doesn't understand how the real world works. You know, he's kind of institutionalized. You know, but I'll say this quickly, then we'll break, because we're late on the break, and my New Year's resolution was to take our breaks on time, and I've not been doing a very good job at that the last week or two. just from a media perspective, just to give you an insider on the in the media. With the media, you have to focus in and be very narrow on any story. If you start saying, well, everybody and McConnell and this and that, then you get too many balls in the air, nothing happens, nothing gets focused on, and nothing gets done. You know, and everything is done through the media now. And for the media, you have to focus in. We've got a high profile issue, the Signal Chat scandal. Now we've got the name of the staffer who added the Atlantic reporter to the staff, and now we find out these hardcore CCP connections. That's everything you need to know. Okay, you focus on that. You don't start talking about Mitch McConnell's wife who's out now of the loop. You don't start talking about Tom Cotton. You focus in on this. All right, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. It is Thursday already. My name's Brian Craig. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio.
There's construction on Hypoluxo Road at Congress Avenue, Lake Ida Road at Hagen Ranch Road. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250 keyword westbound traffic. I'm Ron Versa.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is the only OTB location in Palm Beach County where you watch, wager, and win on incredible racing from top tracks in the country. This Saturday, see and bet the $1 million Florida Derby from Gulfstream, $1.5 million Arkansas Derby, and much more. And the paddock has Florida Derby tickets with great food and over 140 HD TVs and 3 big screens to catch all the racing and sports action. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
This sales event will be held at one location only, City Key of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot.
Whoa, make that switch. Make that switch to City Key.
The City Key of Orlando 500 is back bigger than ever. It's a race for the record. Orlando 500. Save up to $15,000 on select new City Kias. Orlando 500. Last year, over 5,000 customers made the switch to City Kia, and you can too. Lower your payment today. Rates as low as 0%. New Kia Sportage from only $189 a month. Triple your tax return up to $5,000. Orlando 500. All offers.
If you want to call in, the number's pinned in the chat, guys, toll free.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I just received my 7th and 8th set of Make-A-Little sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves them. Oh my God. And especially with the cold days and nights we've been having the last few months in Florida, I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
And I have the flannels too. You know, like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So, perfect. But the guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell's sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them, I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, probably going to be on the next My Pillow commercial, just so you know, okay? Because
okay.
Okay, just to let you know.
You heard Lynn from Boynton. She loves her My Pillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com.
You want to live longer and feel better, and you can, with a personalized wellness roadmap to guide this next chapter of your life. You owe it to yourself. And Ocean Resort is now open on Singer Island, a next-generation luxury wellness resort merging Eastern principles and Western luxury. Integrated health offerings include targeted health assessments in personal wellness.
We'll be back shortly, guys.
Energy flow and metabolic fitness. Take a few days to let the experts at AMRIT guide you with services including pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, red light therapy, and dry flotation meditation. Fine dining is available at the Oceanfront Restaurant, Tula, unlike anything else in Palm Beach County. Experience their 4-story wellness spa with endless treatments designed to detox and relax. Explore all available offers at amritocean.com. That's AMRIT ocean.com.
You have to feel good. At the biostation West Way, Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, we are back 35 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, Laura Loomer has identified the spy that's involved, the Chinese spy, allegedly, who's involved in all of this Signal chat scandal. He is the #1 aide to Michael Walls, and he started the chat, and he added the Atlantic reporter to the chat. And like I told Richie, there's no way that Laura Loomer was not given this information by someone inside the Trump administration, maybe the president himself indirectly. Or directly, you never know. Because this is too big of a story. And in the first segment, I detailed everything about that. But I will recap it throughout the show because I believe it's the biggest story of the day. And it's not going to be covered by any of the media because they don't want you to know this. And they certainly don't want to credit Laura Loomer. Okay, now, boy, I tell you, liberal callers. You know, one thing with liberals, and this has been true since I've been doing this, all they have, liberals, not just the callers, but the media, are talking points. Meaningless, vacuous talking points. And they've been talking to us about egg prices, but not for the last few weeks. You know, egg prices on the national average are down 59% since February 28th. So in the last month, egg prices have dropped 59 cents. This is Fox Business reporting on it. Let me pull this up. Fox Business.
So good thing for egg lovers, egg prices have definitely turned a corner. President Trump touting that his administration has been able to bring down the cost of eggs, with large egg prices on average down 59% since February 28th, and that's according to USDA data.
Wow, 59% since February 28th. So you're not going to hear those callers about the egg prices. You're not going to see these pundits. What about the egg prices? They're on to this Signal thing with leaving out the big stories, and then they'll move on to something else. Because all they have is one smear after another. And it's just smear this and smear that, and then another smear. And then when that one gets exposed or gets tired, they come out with a new slander. And that's how Democrats have always been. It's not new. The only thing that changes are the talking points and the slanders. But they still have the same tactic because they are vacuous. Now, I will tell you, my wife and I'm not saying we're going to do this. We were looking into buying a Tesla because we want to support Elon Musk. And I was talking to my daughter yesterday because I was looking online at the Tesla prices, and they seem pretty expensive. And then my daughter says, no, the prices have dropped. if you go to the showroom. So I was looking into it with my wife, and the Tesla prices have dropped a lot on the Teslas. I know, but I don't know. I've never had an EV. I've never driven a Tesla. I've never been in a Tesla. So it would be hard for me to go out and invest and buy one without driving one. So I don't know. And I'm trying to decide if we do get one, if we should buy or lease, because I was watching a lot of videos of Tesla owners and that buy these cars, and the battery range is a big problem, okay, for people when the cars get older. So even if, when you buy a Tesla, you can choose which battery you get by the range, and you got to go for the most range you can get, because I'm assuming they do this with the EVs, because in regular cars, right, gasoline powered cars, when you go to your window sticker and you see the miles per gallon, that is without air conditioning. A lot of people don't know that. It is without air conditioning that they give you the miles per gallon on the new car stickers. And in Florida, how many days a year do you not have your air conditioning on in your car? Not very many, right? You could drive to work in the morning with your heat on, get off in the afternoon, you got the AC on. So to have a Tesla in Florida, you'd have to get the maximum range, because you're going to have the AC on and you're going to have it on full blast, and you're going to be like, oh man, I got to turn the air down or even off because of the range. So I don't know but it's an interesting thing how the Teslas have changed, because President Trump said yesterday that Elon Musk has never asked him for a favor, and he made a big deal about it. I don't know, do I have that audio? Because I thought that was an interesting thing that President Trump said. I don't know if I have the audio of it. And the way he said it, because, I've been telling you guys that one of the things that President Trump, I'm sure, likes about Elon is he doesn't need anything from him. And he's, let me see here. I can't find that audio. I know I got it somewhere. If I can find it, I'll play it for you later in the program, if I can find it. But Elon Musk has never asked him for a favor, because he doesn't need anything from President Trump, like all these other people do. But look at what's changed with Teslas. Now MAGA people want Teslas. I mean, just a few months ago, we were making fun of them, and now we want them, right? And the reason that I'll tell you why I'd like to have a Tesla. I thought about getting one a couple of cars ago, and then we had that hurricane that hit Florida on the Gulf Coast, and I heard a lot of negative things about the flooding with the batteries, and I'm like, I don't know about that. And my wife didn't want to get one at the time because of that. And but now we want one. And the reason that I want a Tesla is because I want to support Elon Musk. I mean, look at everything that he's done for our country, Elon Musk. Right? He's put everything on the line, like the founding fathers. His life, his business, his fortune. He's risked it all for not personal gain, to save our country, to save our civilization. And it makes, and I want to have a Tesla just to be able to support it. Now, the one I would like, I don't know what the different ones are called, but if I were to get one, I don't know if this would be in my budget, but the one I would want to have would be the like the SUV version that they have. I did sit in one of those at the Boca Town Center Mall. They used to have Teslas there, like a little Tesla dealership inside the mall, and I thought that was pretty cool. And my mother-in-law was just out in LA visiting my daughter, and she took an Uber, and it was the first time she had been in a Tesla, and the Uber driver wasn't driving. The car was driving itself, and she thought that was pretty cool. The only reason I haven't gone out to buy one like this week is my wife and I, we just bought a car a few months ago. So I don't know would it be a second car? Would we trade this car in? I don't know. And should we buy or should we lease? I don't know. And I don't even know if I'm going to get one, but I want one. How many of you, the reason I bring this up, how many of you are MAGA who now you want to go out and support Elon Musk by buying a Tesla? I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I'm sure a lot of you out there want one, but there's a lot. I've been doing some research on this, and there's a lot of things on top of the car price that you got to pay for. As an example, the charger at home. If you just have the plug and not the charging station at home, even that requires having an electrician to install some new electric at your house. And then if you get the charging station at home, so you get that faster charge at home, that's a lot more money. So the cost of the Tesla is beyond the sticker price on all these other things. So I don't know even if it's economically affordable, and it's probably not practical, but I do want to have one to support Elon. And I think a lot of MAGA people are that way. And you know, one of these problems with China, yesterday, President Trump, let me play this. He's putting in this new car tariff. Let me cue this up. This is the president yesterday signing the executive orders.
Thank you, sir. As you stated, we've prepared for your attention a proclamation imposing a 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and light trucks. This is in addition to tariffs that are already in place on those goods. In addition to, as you said, spurring increased domestic manufacture of cars and trucks, we expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now, but starting right away. I think we'll go from 600 to $1 trillion within 2 years, and I think we'll be right from the beginning, we're going to be at a very high number, right from the beginning. And right from the beginning, you're going to have a lot of construction jobs, but you're also going to have a lot of automobile jobs. So this is very exciting.
Yeah, okay. So the tariff. See, China, one of the big problems they have is right there. China has developed and manufactured an entire line of cheap electric vehicles. And their plan was to release them in the United States under the Democrats. They didn't think Trump was coming back. So they were going to have this whole, and so, yeah. So now they've got this tariff, and of course Elon Musk is so popular now, and the Teslas are so popular with this whole new audience. So you know, one of the reasons that this spy is trying to bring down the Trump administration, if this guy truly is a CCP agent, is in large part because of this. This is a hardcore hit. But those who say tariffs don't work, I got a story when we come back that tell you how President Trump is doing the exact right thing and how the tariffs are working. Let's take our last break of the first hour. We'll be right back.
Hard Truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients from bursitis, tendonitis, sciatica, stenosis, neuropathy, tears, post-surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout, bone on bone. If you can name it, most likely I've treated over the years. Most of my practice is laser with robotic lasers. They're robots which rotates constantly around the area, where most lasers do not do that. So if you want to come in for a free consultation, as always here, welcome at Appleton Chiropractic. I'm here 6 days a week. I personally do all the treatment. You can bring your MRIs, you can bring your x-rays, you can bring your CAT scans, whatever you have to bring for me to look at, I would do that free of charge.
Call Dr. Appleton right now for that free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Mario's Catalina reminds us that alcohol-related driving accidents claim thousands of lives each year. When you take to our roads this spring, use the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and common sense, because safe and sober driving is everybody's responsibility. This message is courtesy of Mario's Catalina, 6250 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. Serving 25 years with pride and integrity. That's Mario's Catalina, on the air because they care, asking all listeners to arrive alive. Don't drink and drive.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Al Laporta, and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 952-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, one of the things I'm taking on the cruise when we leave on Sunday is my MyPillow. And, you know, Celebrity Cruise Line is a luxury cruise line. These ships we go on are like yachts, okay? And they have, I bet you've never heard of this, Mike. You ever heard of a pillow menu? Yeah, they have a pillow menu. And your room steward, your concierge, they'll come to your room. They have a pillow menu, and they have all these luxury pillows that you could choose from that they have on Celebrity Cruise Line. I mean, these are like pillows from palaces. I've never heard of a pillow menu. It's pretty cool, huh? And I tried them all. None of them come close to the MyPillow. None of them. So, I know. So I bring my MyPillow with me in my suitcase and sleep on my MyPillow when we're on our cruises. Because, I mean, once you sleep like that, you know, with a MyPillow, you don't want to sleep anywhere. In fact, I loaded my daughter up on MyPillows and MyPillow sheets and everything, so when I visit, I could sleep on the MyPillow mattress topper and the MyPillow sheets and the MyPillows. You know, I wanted her to have a good night's sleep too, but I think it was more out of selfishness. There's huge specials going on right now. The 100% Giza Cotton MyPillow Dream Sheets, $40 off all sizes. The premium MyPillow, that's normally $69.98. With our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, is just $19.98. And that's the premium MyPillow that has the Giza Cotton as the cover. And, of course, there's incredible specials site-wide with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff, what's up?
You know what I was hoping for? All those hearings was, what did you stand on the Benghazi fiasco? How can you compare what you allowed under Biden, and you're sitting here talking about a stupid phone call? That pissed me right off.
Yeah, I know. Did you see that one idiot who was accusing Pete Hegseth? There's a picture of him with a drink in his hand. Yeah, I know.
I screamed at the TV. I was so pissed at that little, you know what?
Yes.
That guy, I don't even remember his name. He was a little weasel trying to say that Pete Hegseth was under the influence or something and asking Tulsi Gabbard if he knew he was.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. These people are insane. It's so obvious that this entire Signal chat was a manufactured scandal timed for these congressional hearings.
I believe it's desperation. They are so desperate to tarnish Trump
They don't care what they say or do.
Yeah, they want to stop him. And, you know, and it's amazing to me, like there's this civil suit, like a public records request for the Signal chat, and it goes before the same judge that is stopping the deportations of the gang members.
That's what when I heard that yesterday, I was like, this is all a setup by the Democrats. They're doing this by, what do you call it? You know, they're...
It's an insurrection. It's an insurrection is what it is. An insurrection against the presidency, yeah. An insurrection against the president of the United States.
And the more they attack President Trump, and I believe that's why he really hasn't said anything much about it, or has he?
No. A little. If they ask, he's given very short answers.
Very, very short, not detailed. I think it's by design. I think they're just letting the Democrat Party destroy themselves. How many people across America are fed up after seeing what we saw yesterday on the Hill? Those Senate hearings, that's just beyond common sense.
Mm-hmm.
How could anyone not see through what the Democrats are?
Well, you know, the fake news media, I was talking about this yesterday early on during my health collapse, but the media, I don't believe the media have been able to get this scandal going. I think they've been trying to start a scandal, and obviously everyone knows about what happened, but I think people see right through it. I don't think they've been able to get this going. They used to be able to in the old days.
And Brian, that's the word I was looking for. They're trying to drum up a scandal. They're trying to do something. I use the word tarnish. They're trying to stop Trump's agenda. And how can anybody in America, this is my last point, how can anyone in America stand against what Trump's trying to do for America by those cleaning up all the abuse, waste, and fraud, putting America first, rebuilding our military, taking our enemies to obliterating, just wiping out our enemies.
Yeah.
How can anyone in their right mind stand against those things that he's doing?
Well, if you're one of those enemies, you're against it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point right there.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. I agree with everything you said. Great call. All right, I appreciate it. Yeah, Jeff from Maine, his calls are always good. He's always on point. And you know what? I think his level of anger is pretty common. Now, all this talk about the tariffs don't work. The tariffs. Did you see? President Trump did something that this country couldn't do in a 10-year war. He defeated Vietnam. Both North and South Vietnam. Listen to this. This broke last night. In response to Trump's reciprocal tariffs, Vietnam is slashing their tariffs on American goods from 5 to 2%. That's on whatever LNG goods are. Do you know what LNG is, Mike? I have no idea. What is LNG goods? But listen to this. Vietnam is slashing their tariffs on American cars, which have been as high as 45 to 64%. So Vietnam has had tariffs on American cars at 64%. They're cutting that in half to 32%. They're cutting their ethanol tariff in half from 10 to 5% tariff on American ethanol. Vietnam has also approved Starlink's operation and will further cut import duties on American chicken, almonds, apples, cherries, and wooden products. I mean, Vietnam, sadly, because the way the government ran it, won the war in Vietnam. And here's Trump, boom, just defeated Vietnam, just like that. He brought regime change to Canada. He's about to acquire Greenland. LNG is power. Okay. I know LG is that like Korean TVs, isn't it? I thought LG was a Korean TV. I don't know. But they're cutting the tariffs by like 50% on U.S. goods. That's amazing. Just like that, on a dime. And that's just the beginning. They're going to do it more. Canada's had regime change because of one post on Truth Social of President Trump's. And now he's defeated Vietnam. That is amazing. Don't look for this to be highlighted in the news, okay? But his reciprocal, that means no tariffs on the Vietnamese products because it's reciprocal. So there's no increase on their products coming into our country. See how that works? Your talking points, guys, on the left, they were all wrong, weren't they? All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's Thursday, March 27th. My name is Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. 1-888-465-2631. I will recap the Chinese spy and Mike Waltz's staff. I think I'll have to recap that every hour today because it's going to be it's the biggest story of the day and no one's going to report it. But there's a lot of other topics that I'm going to cover on the program today as well, and your calls. So if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be right back.
USFS HD3 Miramar, UIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Huron Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
This Thursday and throughout the day, a high of 76 degrees, sunny and breezy. Tonight it'll be a low of 71 degrees, mostly clear and windy. Friday throughout the day, high of 75 degrees, mostly sunny and windy. And then Friday night it'll be mostly cloudy and windy with a low of 72 degrees.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
There's a stalled vehicle reported on the southbound lanes of the Turnpike at Glades Road. I-95 looks free of major delays at this time throughout Palm Beach County. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250, keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hurst.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. This March, go for the green in the poker room. Lucky high-hand winners this week get a chance to win a piece of the $10,000 cash giveaway on Saturday. Plus, there's 65 tables of action with cash games, new and exciting tournaments, and bad beat jackpots. Our table game area features Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum 7 days a week. Check out all the ways to win at pbkennelclub.com.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours or those big labs. That's why I go to Any Lab Test Now in Boca and Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs for all of my lab work. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now in Boca and Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now in Boca is in the Sandalwood Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 41. Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now in Boca at 561-237-6009. Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. Don't forget to mention
Singers, wings, and mozzarella
Do you
sticks.
suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
On the air since 1977. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. Did you guys see Christy Noem at that prison in El Salvador yesterday? I want to play this audio. She made a video, Christy Noem, in front of a jail cell loaded with these, I guess, Trinde de Agua, whatever they're called, prisoners. Let me play this for you, then we'll talk about it a little bit. Christy Noem at the prison in El Salvador.
Visiting this facility. And first of all, I want to thank El Salvador and their president for their partnership with the United States of America to bring our terrorists here and to incarcerate them and have consequences for the violence that they have perpetuated in our communities. I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you can face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Okay, so she's in front of this jail cell filled with these prisoners, and they're just like in the videos we've seen. They're wearing like white shorts and no shirts. I guess they don't let them wear shirts, and they're standing in this dungeon as Christy Noem is talking. And I'm starting to think they must dope these guys up, right? Here they are in prison forever. Now, the media are having meltdowns over this. And this story, this is in the Daily Mail. Listen to this garbage. Christy Noem's desperate prison stunt sparks liberal meltdown as critics slam her El Salvador visit. And they're saying she was wearing a $50,000 watch. Oh, my goodness. How dare she? I didn't know Christy Noem was that wealthy. Good for her. But, it took a lot of guts to do that. Have any of you ever been to a jail? Have any of you ever been to a prison? Yeah. It's a scary place, I imagine. I've never been to prison or to jail. I know people who have. But she is in she's in a prison that is so frightening that even these Venezuelan gang members are scared. It's a prison that doesn't get scarier than that. And do you know how dangerous it is to be a woman in a place like that? Now imagine this. You're the woman. Well, first off, you're a woman who's hot like her. You're rich. You got a $50,000 watch on. I imagine she wears a lot of perfume, Christy Noem. She looks good. She's got her hair done. She's got her makeup on. Plus, she's the person that put these guys in these jail cells, in this dungeon in El Salvador, and she makes this video, and she doesn't have a worry in the world. Now, a lot of people may say they're behind bars. A lot of these Latin American countries are terrifying just to be in them. When I went to Peru years ago, I'll never go back. I was terrified every second I was there. Okay? These countries are scary. And here she is in front of a dungeon filled with hundreds of guys that are the most violent. They're like ISIS prisoners. She put them in there, and she's like, doesn't have a worry in the world making this video. She's not afraid at all. Let me read some of this story, see what they say about her. Christy Noem angered liberals. Well, liberals are always angry at Republicans. Christy Noem angered liberals for wearing a fancy wristwatch. What, are the liberals angry that these prisoners were raping and murdering American girls? I mean, think about it. She's in front of a jail cell filled with rapist murderers that she put in there. Christy Noem angered liberals for wearing a fancy wrist watch while she berated gangsters at the prison in El Salvador, where the Trump administration has banished many illegal migrants. Noem, the former governor of South Dakota, attracted attention early on. It goes on and on and on. Okay, they talk about all kinds of things. I think it takes a lot of guts for her to be there. And, you know, I'm looking at some of the still photographs. She's close to that cell with those guys. She's just out of arm's reach, which means they could smell her perfume. And those guys, even though they can't reach her, when she makes the videos, they're not making a peep, and they're really standing, so far as a prison would go, at attention. Whatever they do in El Salvador is what we should be doing here. None of them are spitting at her. They're not doing things to come out of their body to throw at her. You know what I mean? There's a couple of, there's three or four things actually, that prisoners will throw at people. And I'm not talking about spit. You can figure it out. They're not doing that to her. None of it. Now, probably two reasons. They got to be drugged. These guys got to be drugged. But they're also being properly disciplined in a prison. This is amazing, and we should all be very proud of her. All right, now this is, I mentioned, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take some calls in a bit. And if you would like to call in, please do. I'll go to some calls after the break, after the first break. Maybe we'll take some calls. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Now, I mentioned this clip in the first hour, and I pulled it up. This is absolutely amazing, and it's President Trump talking about Elon Musk. Oh, hold on, I gotta pull it up. There we go.
No, because he may have a conflict, so we don't talk. I've never talked to him. Elon's amazing. He's never asked me for a favor in business whatsoever. I'm actually a little surprised by it. I might do it, I might not do it. I do what's right, and he'd want me to do what's right. No, he's a patriot. He has never, you know, these are big deals we're talking about. This is probably nothing like this. And I've never had Elon come and say, would you do me a favor with the mandate or the electric mandate or anything. He's never asked me for anything.
Yeah, and I've been telling you guys for weeks, one of the things, you know, because obviously Elon Musk has become like President Trump's best friend or one of his best friends, certainly his closest friend right now. And a lot of that has to do with just that. He doesn't need, want, or ask for any favors. You know, everyone else around someone like President Trump wants something. They feel they're owed something for their support or they want a favor. And when you got a guy like that who hasn't asked him for anything, that's probably unusual for someone like President Trump, who's rich and powerful and famous and everything. That's all people want. And Elon probably is the only person around him who's never asked for anything. And because he has everything, you know? I mean, what could he ask for? What could Trump give him? Now, the big story of the day that I open with, I'm going to recap and then add something to it that I didn't share in the first hour when we get back from the break. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to ask if you or someone you know or love is suffering from neuropathy. And I'm thinking about this today because with the cruise coming up, we found Lighthouse Medical because Steve had every neuropathy symptom in the medical textbooks, okay? And he went to his doctor, he went to a neurologist, and they told him there's no treatment for neuropathy. And I found Lighthouse Medical, and not only do they have a treatment for neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical in Pompano, they have a treatment that works. And I was amazed. Steve went to them, and then I taught, it was either, I can't remember if it was Thursday, or I think it was a Friday. He went to see them and had his treatment on Friday. And then it was in the morning, and I didn't hear from him. And then I talked to Steve on Saturday morning, the day after he started the treatment, and his symptoms were already disappearing. I couldn't believe it. And now we're over 2.5 years later, And not only are all of his neuropathy symptoms gone, they've not returned. So Lighthouse Medical in Pompano, they have a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works, and they have a treatment for neuropathy that lasts. That's amazing. And those symptoms from neuropathy are god-awful. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, dizziness, muscle weakness, muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet. That's awful. That's like when your foot falls asleep. Can you imagine having that in your body? Oh my goodness. Some have no feeling at all. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. Then you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. The number is 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon, one of the DJs here at the True Oldies channel. Hope you're enjoying the show with Brian. And we want to remind you that at 10 this morning, the Oldies are back. The greatest hits of the 60s and 70s right here on the True Oldies channel.
This is Dr. Phil Babaton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Huntington Beach for 40 years, working 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you've heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous for patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication. There's no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser, the acupuncture I do, or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
This sales event will be held at one location only, City Kia of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot.
Oh, make that switch. Make that switch to City Kia.
The City Kia Orlando 500 is back, bigger than ever. It's a race for the record. Orlando 500. Save up to $15,000 on select new City Kias. Orlando 500. Last year, over 5,000 customers made the switch to City Kia, and you can too. Lower your payment today. Rates as low as 0%. New Kia Sportage for only $189 a month. Triple your tax and turn up to $5,000. All offers and terms on select model. This sales event will be held at one location only. City Kia of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot. It's the City Kia Orlando 500.
I spilled water all over myself.
Oh, make that switch. Make that switch to City Kia. To City Kia.
If you're a homeowner with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Laporta Roofing has been in the roofing and construction business since 1984, with thousands of roof installations and thousands of satisfied customers. Did you know that in the state of Florida, you can open a roofing company and borrow someone else's license? Tom Laporta is the holder of his roofing and general contractor's licenses, not like the other companies that borrow other people's licenses. So be sure who you're dealing with. Tom Laporta and his team are honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Roofing carries all insurance, including workers' compensation on all of its employees, not just a waiver like other contractors. Laporta Roofing can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing, HOAs, condominiums, and churches. If it's roofing, Laporta Roofing can do it. So call Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, or connect online at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602. Laporta Roofing, the go-to roofing company you can trust.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the...
All right, calls on hold, stand by. Just to add something to the message of me recorded for Tom Laporta at Laporta Roof. I don't know if I mentioned this in that spot or not, but Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing can handle the job of any size. So if you have an office complex or an HOA or a condo community and it has 350 units, he can handle it. 200 buildings, he can handle the job of any size. Just I don't know if that's in that message or not, but that's pretty amazing. And you get the owner of the company's cell phone number. Phew, that's amazing. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dave from Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit.
Well, I just love listening to you, mega stupidity, just ramble on.
Well. What's the dumbest thing I said today?
Oh, you're trying to belittle the fact that this top secret, confidential attack was not on the proper channel, on the proper text, and it's for treason.
I didn't even say any of what you just said. I didn't say anything like that. Can you pick something I actually said that's stupid? I didn't say anything like that.
Oh, so you agree it was confidential?
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. You said that you enjoy hearing me say things that are stupid. I asked you to pick something stupid I said today, and then you just made something up that I didn't say. So if I'm saying things that are stupid, I don't want to sound stupid to, there's a lot of people listening. What did I say that is stupid? Oh, there's nobody listening. Hold on a second. There's nobody listening? You're listening.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Other than that, yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Now, I will say this. Other than the people who are listening, nobody is listening. So if you're listening, you're listening. If you're not listening, you're not listening. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You know what that remind me of? At the Republican convention in when Romney ran. That was in 2012, right? It was in. Hey, Doug, you're on the air. Now the Republican convention where Romney got nominated. That was 2012. It was in Tampa. I remember because of the weather. There was like a hurricane or a tropical storm or something. And I'm watching one of the fake news media. It was NBC maybe, NBC, CBS, CNN, one of those liberals. And they had this poll. There was a new poll out that Mitt Romney's support among blacks for president is 0. And the liberal reporter, and this was from one of the networks like NBC, they're interviewing 2 black delegates at the Republican convention and the reporter says, it was a lady reporter, she says, there's a new poll out that says Mitt Romney's support among African Americans is at 0. Would you like to comment? And these 2 black delegates said, we're black and we're here. So obviously that poll's wrong because there's 2 of us right here that are black supporting him. And the reporter didn't even compute, just like that idiot. Anyway, what's on your mind, Doug?
No shortage of idiots. So first of all, you mentioned Elon Musk and the Tesla. I've been saying for a long time, if he makes a hybrid, I think, man, that car will fly out of the places because everybody would like to buy a Tesla, and if they had a hybrid, man, they certainly would. Because a lot of people are not interested in having all electric. So if it's hybrid, I think that'd be great. Anyway, but here now he's thinking about switching to hydrogen. So who knows what's going to happen? But when I saw that Christy Noem in El Salvador. And all those prisoners standing there, I'm sure the warden over there told them, you make one peep, man, and you're going to be sorry.
That doesn't matter. I mean, once you're there, they can do whatever they want. And I've never been to a prison like that or anything, but I remember when I was a kid, they used to have that Scared Straight thing on TV all the time. Remember Scared Straight? That was that thing they used to, this was amazing. This was like in the 70s, early 80s. they would take high school kids that were juvenile delinquents, and they would take them to a prison, and they would have these and there were these guys that were prisoners. They'd be in a, and they were guys that were doing either long sentences of 20 years or more or life, and they would scare the crap out of them, and they called it scared straight. And they know they're under protection. They know these guys are part of a program. There's guards, and they were peeing their pants. These tough juvenile delinquents. And for Christy Noem, to stand in front of those guys like that and casually make that video, no matter what they were threatened with, they could throw things from their body at her.
You know, I tell you, when you see all those prisoners in there, Christy Noem and President Trump, you got to love them for that. You don't like them for anything else. You certainly should love them for getting those guys out of our country. What a bunch of animals these guys are, man. All the tattoos and they're out of our country over there. How can you not love President Trump and Christy Noem for that?
Those are back there. Those are the Biden Kamala dreamers in that dungeon behind Christy Noem. Those are the dreamers.
Isn't that something? And you would think that nobody wants them in the country, even the liberals. But man, that's the kind of people, and who knows how evil these people are.
They're the ones that are there are the worst of the worst. That even like Venezuela's afraid of. Those are the prisoners that even the prison guards are afraid of in a regular jail.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm so glad they're out of our country, and there's probably a lot more to go yet. And they're doing a fantastic job, and I'm so proud of them. And we're so lucky. Could you imagine if Trump didn't win the election? What would happen to this country?
That's right. If we, I mean, that was an army they had here. And all right, appreciate the call, Doug. Yeah, I mean, you know, to Christy Noem, if you look at this, I put these on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. If you look at the still pictures, she is just out of arm's reach of those guys. A normal person like you or me, you would be terrified to be that, even though they're in a cell. Okay? Because when people walk by cells in jails and in prison, they throw feces at you and all kinds of other things. And those guys aren't even moving. Pretty cool, huh? I think it is. Now, I want to tell you guys about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Oh, man. You know, I started their program because of the cruise. And I had gained weight since the last cruise. You know, and the reason I did is I like Hershey's chocolate, and I like Coke and Pepsi. I have my two new cats. One's named Coca-Cola, the other one's named Pepsi-Cola. And I gained weight since the last cruise, and I wanted to lose 25 pounds, and I've lost more than that thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And Dr. Zuckerman, he's great over there, and they assign you a weight loss coach that keeps in contact with you through the whole process. Now, I want to remind you guys, I'm not eating any weird foods. I'm eating the stuff I would normally eat, okay? Yeah, I mean, today I'm probably going to go to Culver's today, all right? So, yeah, I eat, the stuff I would normally eat. I'm not taking any prescription medications like Ozempic or anything. Not taking any medications. And I'm not doing any exercise. Zero exercise, okay? I'm not, and that's just the way it is. And I've lost all this weight. So, Coastal Weight Loss Secret, they called me up at the beginning of the week, and they said, so what are you going to do, Brian? I mean, you've lost more weight than you planned on. Do you want to get into the maintaining period? And I said, I said, I'm going on the cruise next week. I said, let me go on the maintain phase. And when we get back from the cruise, I think I'll start it up again because I'd like to lose maybe another 10 pounds, 10 or 15 pounds. Why not? And the only reason I'm going into the maintain phase is because if I would have gone for the other 10 pounds or 15 pounds, my clothes wouldn't fit me for the cruise, and I only wear fancy clothes once a year. Okay, so I didn't have time to go out and get a new suit or anything else. I'll have to get new suits for the next cruise. But so I'm in the maintain phase, and then after the cruise, I'm going to go for another 10 or 15 pounds. And I just wanted to lose 25. I lost more than that. Someone in the live chat on YouTube said, "You look younger, Brian." And I'll tell you, a lot of you that watch me online on the live streams, YouTube is like television. It adds weight to you. Okay, so and it sucks because people always, one of the most common things I hear from people, "Oh, you're so much thinner in person." Now I want to hear that. So when you see me in person, I'm going to look even thinner than I look on YouTube if you guys watch me online. So I'm very excited. But I just want to lose 25 pounds. But if you want to lose 20 pounds or 40 pounds or 50 pounds or 150 pounds, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help you too. Give them a call, 561-247-6300. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. We'll be right back.
Make it.
Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Dave guy is one of the guys that
Palm Beach County, where you watch, wager, and win on incredible racing from top.
Well, he doesn't use he didn't use profanity.
Gotcha.
That's the problem.
$1 million Florida Derby from Gulfstream, $1.5 million Arkansas Derby, and much more.
As long as he doesn't use profanity, it's okay.
I was about to say, is that disturbing one though?
TVs and 3 big screens to catch all the racing and sports action. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Mm-hmm.
Scott's going to tell you all how he can save you boatloads of money for the rest of the time you live in your home off your electric bill.
My claim to fame is Radiant Barrier. I bought that from South Florida 15 years ago, and I think I launched it with you guys on your show. It's the cheapest, easiest way to really create a game-changing situation in your house. Your attic gets super, super hot in the summer, and the Radiant Barrier just reflects all that energy that comes in through the roof. It shoots it right back out the roof, lowering the temperature of your attic 30 or 40 degrees, and also cutting off the radiant heat wave that heats up your roof and then heats up your whole entire house. It just turns that energy from the sun and shoots it right back out the roof. And it's just a game changer in people's house. It usually cuts their AC runtime in half, lowers their electric bill about 30 to 40%.
I'm going to give you Scott's number and cut my kilowatts. This is Scott's cell phone, 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500.
Hey, I want to say God bless us the Trump one this year.
Absolutely. When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be kept for it. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, welcome back, one and all. I saw this story the other day. This blew my mind, okay? Because, we have all of these judges that are undermining the President of the United States, right? It's an insurrection from the federal bench. And I saw this story a couple days ago, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. I was going to yesterday, but, I didn't have it. It's in the Daily... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, this is in the Gateway Pundit. Listen to this. 1/3 of D.C. district judges were not born in the United States. Can you believe that? Listen to this. This is a new story. This is in the Gateway Pundit. A shocking new report reveals that 1/3 of Washington, D.C. district judges were not born in the United States, and many of them had no prior experience as judges before being appointed. Yeah, I guess the qualification is they're a liberal activist. This was not always the case. There was a time as recently as the 1980s when all the judges were American born. That's important, and I'll tell you why it's important to be American born, especially with this wave of immigrants we have now, because there's no immersion into American society or culture. That's why you have that Judge Mershon, although that's not a federal judge. These are federal judges I'm talking about here, right? 1/3 of them, not U.S. born. Many of them, no prior experience. That Judge Mershon in that corrupt trial in New York, he was from Colombia. Now, he was a little boy when he came here, but he doesn't think like an American. He thinks like a Colombian. As recently as the 1980s, all these judges were American-born, and these are the D.C. federal judges. These judges make decisions on some of the most important issues. And here's an article in the Federalist about it. The headline, 1/3 of all D.C. district, these are federal judges, were not born in the United States. The United States District Court for the District of Columbia, federal judges, the source of many of the cases interfering with President Trump's authority, has 15 justices, counting the chief judge. The chief judge is Boasberg. He's the one part of, he's a FISA judge, and he's part of Chief Justice John Roberts' Star Chamber of Judges, that secret club. 5 of them were born outside the United States. But starting in 2014, Barack Obama appointed Chutkan, who was born in Kingston, Jamaica. She was in the U.S. by 1979. She attended George Washington University. Oh, my goodness. I mean, hardcore leftist university. Before sitting on the federal court, now Chutkan, she's the one that was handling the Trump J6 case. And she's involved in one of the cases now that Trump's dealing with. Before sitting on the federal court, she had no experience as a judge. And she's also was Hunter's boss at the law firm. Judge Chutkan is overseeing the legal challenge to Doge. So Hunter Biden's old boss at the law firm, because she was an equity partner, and the judge of Trump's J6 case, not born in the United States, had no prior experience as a judge, and she's the judge overseeing Doge. You would think they only have like 2 judges, Chutkan and Boasberg. Like these are the only 2 federal judges we have. Obama also appointed Judge Mehta to the D.C. court. He had no previous experience as a judge. You know, I remember George W. Bush was going to appoint someone who had no previous experience being a judge, and I remember the meltdowns over that. I cannot remember her name. She was a lawyer, and she worked on his staff, and he was talking about appointing her to the Supreme Court. Oh, no, you got to be a judge. You have to have lower judge experience. Oh, the media. Mehta was born in India. He and his parents came to the United States when he was a baby. He was raised in Maryland, and he's overseen 4 J6 civil cases where Trump's being sued and blaming him for injuries on J6, even though he had nothing to do with it. The other foreign-born judges were nominated by Biden. Judge Anna Cecilia Reyes was nominated in 2021 by Biden. No prior experience as a judge, and she was born in Uruguay. She grew up in Spain. I mean, this is crazy. You know, and out of all of the federal judges, this is these cases that are holding Trump up are cases in front of judges that are not U.S. born. Do you think that's a coincidence? Now, overall, I don't know what percentage of the federal judges are U.S. born or not. And this Judge Boasberg, even President Trump commented on this on True Social yesterday. President Trump wrote this: "How disgraceful is it that Judge James Boasberg has been given a 4th Trump case, something which is statistically impossible. He's getting all the cases. I'd like to know how that's happening. Especially getting the cases from a Trump Republican to win before him. He is highly conflicted." This is President Trump. "He is highly conflicted, not only in his hatred of me, massive Trump derangement syndrome, but also because of disqualifying family conflicts." Boasberg, who was the chief judge of the D.C. District Court, seems to be grabbing the Trump cases all to himself, even though it is not supposed to happen that way. They're supposed to randomly assign them. At the Miami Federal Court, they have like a spin-the-wheel lottery kind of situation. That's why the Trump-appointed judge got the documents case, because they randomly assign them through some type of lottery. But Boasberg is winning the lottery every time. Then Trump went on, "Is there still such a thing as the wheel where the judges are chosen fairly and at random?" So that's what I was just talking about. "The good news is it probably doesn't matter because it is virtually impossible for me to get an honest ruling in D.C. Our nation's courts are broken, with the New York and D.C. being the most preeminent of all of their corruption and radicalism. There must be an immediate investigation of this rigged system, the judicial system, before it's too late." And that's on True Social. And, you know, President Trump has been obeying the law in these judges. Now, some of these deportations still happen for various reasons. But, you know, one of the reasons that the media are trying to make a big deal out of this signal text thing is so that people don't focus in on the corruption that's going on with the judges. Because if you look, I mean, how does one judge get 4 Trump cases in just a couple of weeks in the same district? How does that happen? Right? And I know Loomer called it Signalgate. I don't like calling it Signalgate because it implies there's a scandal inside the White House where there is none. The only scandal is the story that Loomer broke that I opened the show up with at 6. And Laura Loomer has identified the Mike Waltz staffer who added the Atlantic reporter to the Signal chat, and it turns out that his father-in-law is a big guy in the CCP. So he's probably a Chinese spy. His name's Wong, W-O-N-G, Wong. But they're focusing in on these stories, so you're distracted away from what they're really doing. Now, I want to tell you guys about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. And even when I'm gone next week on the cruise, I'm going to get a notification on my cell phone anytime there's any movement at my door. And I like that because I'm not home and I can see who is there. And you can get a doorbell camera that connects to your cell phone for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and your windows, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call no matter where you are located. The number is 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. We'll be right back. All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us today?
I've been thinking, I've been on your show for, I don't even know how long, Brian, Steve.
Oh, yeah, I don't either.
Probably 10 years, maybe, close to it.
Oh, yeah.
And, so, of course, many of your listeners have taken the opportunity to come in for a free consultation or to get their current estate plan reviewed. Many have come to our seminars. But for those of you who've been listening for a long time and you haven't done anything, if you haven't gone anywhere else to get it done, or you just haven't done it at all, this is me reaching out to you and saying, what are you waiting for? I mean, even if you did something years ago, somewhere else in another state or even here, it's a good idea to have it reviewed. And we will do that at no charge. We'll review it, let you know what it is that you have, and then you can make some good decisions for you and your family. And, unfortunately, when it comes to estate planning, for multiple reasons, people tend to put it off, either because of the subject matter, end of life, or disability issues, the idea that you may have tough decisions to make. The thing to remember is these are revocable, amendable. You could change them at any time. They're not set in stone. So it's better to have something in place than to have nothing in place, or to have something in place that you may have done in the past. We've heard stories like, I believe when Steve first did his with us, he had a trustee that was no longer even living.
Yep.
And so we see that all the time. We see ex-spouses as trustees and powers of attorney, and the person being able to pull the plug. I mean, so all kinds of things like that. Your beneficiary distribution may be different than you may have done in the past. All of these things need to be looked at and reviewed. So I'd urge any of you who've been listening to this for years, take the time, pick up the phone, call us, come to one of our workshops, and just start the process. Just find out what it is that you may need to do. Or maybe you'll come in, we'll review it, and we'll say everything looks great, and that's fine too. At least you'll know. You'll have that peace of mind, and that's what we offer at the Sequel.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I am the trustee on several people's trust, and people haven't even asked me. They just make me the trustee without, like Steve didn't ask me. He just told me after he did it. But I guess I'm a trustee person, Barry. But the thing about it though, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to reveal this, but I'll tell you, a year or two ago, one of Steve's kids found out I was the trustee on his trust, and they had a freak out. And I'm not going to say which one. And since he has 7, it's kind of anonymous, and that just shows you what would have happened if they were the trustee, or I wasn't, or the dead trustee was still the trustee. This kid that freaked out and was worried about their money because I'm the trustee, imagine what kind of conflict there would have been in that family if he hadn't properly set up his trust. So, listen, Barry asked a good question. Why have you not done this already? It's a free consultation with the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. So, you got nothing to lose, only to gain. And the number is 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. And, next week we're gone on our cruise. So we won't be here next week, but we'll be back the week after. All right, we'll talk tomorrow. See, it's easy for me to tell Barry now than try to get him on the phone because he's a very busy lawyer. And I could text him or call him, but it's easier just to tell him on the air. Okay, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Okay, so I know I've been covering this Signal Chat story a lot. And I know some of you in the audience maybe think I've been covering it too much this week. But maybe, I don't know. But it's when I see what they're doing, it's hard for me not to defend and what's the Trump administration. Not that they need me, but when I see something going on. Now, there's been a lot since yesterday put on Mike Waltz. And there's a news story today that I saw in multiple media outlets. And they want Waltz out. And they want everybody out. I mean, they want Trump out. But they're focusing on Hegseth and Waltz. But there's a lot of focus on Waltz because I guess they figure he's a lower level guy. They can get to him. They're going for that low-hanging fruit thing. And one of the stories that I've seen in multiple news reports is on Mike Waltz is the one I'm going to share with you now. And I'm going to defend anyone in the Trump administration until Trump says not to and drops them. Then it's over. But Laura Loomer, I believe Laura Loomer got this story from someone in the Trump administration. She identified the Mike Waltz staffer, who's a guy by the name of Wong, who is the son-in-law. He's Chinese-American. His father-in-law is a big to-do in the CCP, okay? And he started the chat, and he added the Atlantic reporter to the chat. And that's Laura Loomer's reporting. And she is always right. And there's a story that is all over the online media. I don't know if this has made it on television yet. But they're trying to make a connection between... They're trying to accuse Waltz of being a spy. And until Trump says it or drops him, I won't believe it. And remember Rules for Radicals, the liberal Bible, Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, accuse your opponent of doing what you're doing. That's a distraction, right? So Loomer has publicized the spy that he actually started the chat and added him, which means that this Wong guy has Waltz's phone. And this is not unusual for business people, executives, and high-ranking government officials for their staff to hold their phone. There's a story of some other liberal journalists that are in his contacts in that phone. And then this is the new one. And they've got this story. Unearthed photo of Trump security advisor Mike Waltz demolishes major claim about war plan leak scandal. A photo has been published of Mike Waltz next to Jeffrey Goldberg, that's the Atlantic reporter, showing that the two had met prior to the Atlantic editor-in-chief being allowed into a Trump administration group text. White House National Security Advisor Waltz has faced intense scrutiny for accidentally adding Goldberg to a Signal chat. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about with this story. This story was written and published after Loomer broke the story. Okay? It wasn't an accident, and Waltz didn't do it. It was this Wong guy who did it and did it on purpose. Earlier this week, Waltz said, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families, this one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into reviewing how the heck he got into the room. However, a reporter has unearthed a picture at a 2021 screening of a film at the French Embassy in Washington where Waltz is standing next to Goldberg. The event Waltz attended, a Q&A with a French filmmaker, was moderated by Goldberg. Okay, they got a picture of him, and Goldberg's in the picture. What does that mean? I mean, I meet people all the time. I take pictures with people all the time. I don't know who they are. I don't do background checks. You know, I'm at an event, people take a picture with me. I don't know who they are. This is just like the Stormy Daniels story. They've got them in a photograph at a public event. Well, semi-public. It was at the French embassy. And that's their connection? That seems very weak to me. Very weak. You know, they started this with, according to the liberals, that means that Mike Waltz and Goldberg from The Atlantic have had sex. Because they were telling us with the Stormy Daniels photograph with Trump that anyone that's in a photograph with you, you've had sex with. It's like proof of sex. This is proof they were both at an event that a lot of Washington bigwigs were in. This is weak. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, there you go. See, there's the liberal response. Now, I'm not going to go through the list of journalists yet because I don't have that list in front of me. It's in another story, but it's not important. You know, why are they targeting Mike Waltz? Okay, this would be my guess. This Trump administration is a loyal staff and a loyal cabinet. In the first term, he didn't know anyone in Washington. He's talked about this himself. And he put people in jobs and they were spying on him and leaking and undermining him. Mike Pence and his team were probably the source of almost every major leak because Pence was in the room with the president in every meeting he had those 4 years. But this time, they don't have people in there undermining him, and they don't have people in there that are spying on him. They have a wall of loyalty around Trump. And if you notice, with these interviews, even during this signal chat scandal they're trying to create, when they interview people from the Trump administration on this or anything else, they don't talk too much. The only one that talks at all, even in the hearings about it, is Ben Radcliffe, who gets pretty ticked off and tells them. So one of the ways, that, and this is such a big change from the first term. One of the reasons they haven't been able to get this off the ground, even though I've been talking about it all week, because I've got to. I mean, there's a lot of stories in the news, I know. But this one, as I see it develop throughout the day, every day, is filled with so much garbage, I just can't stay away from this story. So my apologies to that. Not that any apologies are needed. I mean, this is this thing about this Wong character that Loomer uncovered is such a huge story. Such a huge story, you know? And I still stand by that this may have been an attempt to smoke out. They thought they had somebody on the inside and smoked them out. But with the way that this has been handled, President Trump and his team have not given them anywhere to go. In the first term, Trump would have a 2.5-hour press conference, and he'd be arguing with Jim Acosta about it for 30 or 40 minutes in the press conference. Now they give very short answers. They're all on the same page, and they're not arguing with the media about it. And the media don't have really too many places to go with it because of it. So, like I said, if Trump drops Waltz, then it's another thing. But he hasn't dropped him, and he says he's a good guy, he's doing good work. And I noticed that everyone from the cabinet has been saying the same thing through all of this. Now, before we break for the top of the hour, I want to tell you guys about Friendly Tire in Margate. Oh, my goodness. You know, Friendly Tire in Margate, you know, we were talking about Teslas earlier. If you have a Tesla, they have the special equipment that you need to do tire work on Teslas, okay? And great prices. Those are specialty tires. You need specialty tools, great prices. But every car in my family is on the road from tires from Friendly Tire. You know, he has all the name brands you know and love. He has new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $70 a tire. As low as $70 a tire, out the door and on the road. And what I mean by out the door and on the road is this. He doesn't charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or even dispose of your old tires. And he has to pay someone per tire to take those tires away. I was in shock when he told me that. I thought some guy collected the old tires for free because it's like rubber, he could make some money off. No, he's got to pay a guy per tire he charges him. So new tires as low as $70 a tire out the door and on the road. And that is for tire sizes on some of the most common vehicles on the road today. He can get you tires for everything. If you have run flats like I do, great prices on run flats. And I see some of our listeners over there that have industrial vehicles like dump trucks. Some have high performance vehicles. I've seen some of our listeners over there in Jags, in Vets, and Porsches getting tires. And then people just in, regular cars getting tires. He also does tire repairs, which other places do not do. I'm going to give you his number. When you call Friendly Tire, Friendly Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. We have listeners that drive over an hour each way to go to Friendly Tire because the prices are so low. And he has thousands of good, high-quality used tires in stock as well at very low prices. But the new tires are so affordable. If you need 4 new tires, buy 2 and then save up the money and come back in a week or 2 and get the other 2. His new tires are so low. And like I said, my daughter has been in California for over 2 years. I got her 4 new tires before I shipped her car, and her tires look like new. I was all ready to buy her new tires because I know she's been driving out there on those weird roads, the deserts, Pacific Coast Highway, and no, she doesn't need them yet, which is amazing to me. Oh, so here's the number, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Give Friendly Mike a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones after the top of the hour break. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the all-year cooling weather center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
This Thursday and throughout the day, a high of 76 degrees, sunny and breezy. Tonight it'll be a low of 71 degrees, mostly clear and windy. Friday throughout the day, a high of 75 degrees, mostly sunny and windy. And then Friday night it'll be mostly cloudy and windy with a low of 72 degrees.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Watch for a stalled vehicle blocking the left lane of eastbound Southern Boulevard, approaching I-95. There's
Firestone and Goodyear. Yep, he's got Firestone and Goodyear.
Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250, keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hurst.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. This March, go for the green in the poker room. Lucky high hand winners this week get a chance to win a piece of the $10,000 cash giveaway on Saturday. Plus, there's 65 tables of action with cash games, new and exciting tournaments, and bad beat jackpots. Our table game area features Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum 7 days a week. Check out all the ways to win at pbkennelclub.com.
This sales event will be held at one location only, City Key of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot.
Oh, make that switch. Make that switch to City Key.
The City Key Orlando 500 is back. It's a race for the record. Orlando 500. Save up to $15,000 on select new City Kias. Orlando 500. Last year, over 5,000 customers made the switch to City Kia, and you can too. Lower your payment today. With the lowest 0%. New Kia Sportage from only $189 a month. Triple your tax return up to $5,000. Orlando 500. All offers and terms on select model. This sales event will be held at one location only, City Key of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little,
7. It's the Steve.
All right, the third hour has begun. It is Thursday, March 27th, 2025. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Daniel. I'm actually calling from Georgia.
All right, what's up, Daniel in Georgia? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is actually what you're referring to, the actual chat group from Signal.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say, like, either way, regardless of who may have added him by accident or not by accident, they shouldn't have been talking high-level operations on that text form at all.
Well, shouldn't. It's not authorized. It's not authorized. The president said it was okay. He authorizes everything. But, yeah.
Regardless what the president may say on that, I'm telling you right now, from the DOD's perspective, as far as rules and regulations of policy, we cannot disclose anything.
So this is interesting. So the Department of the commander-in-chief is the president, right? So in the United States, the military answers to the civilian commander-in-chief, not the commander-in-chief to the military. We have civilian leadership. We have a civilian. Okay, so the military doesn't tell the president and defense secretary what to do. The president said it's okay. And when you say no, there's no checks and balances. What the president says goes.
You have multiple other departments.
Oh, really? What department? What department? Really? What department does the president have to get to go along with him before he authorizes something?
He needs to get with his advisors from the.
No, it doesn't work that way. They work for him. No, it doesn't. It works. No. Oh my God. Are you in the military? Are you in the military? You keep saying we.
Right now.
Well, this is scary. You're in the military. This is insane to me. This is, you know what? Talking to you. Excuse me. You're in the military. You should have some more respect. This is talking to you is like these spring break videos I see of these idiot college kids that think that the U.S. won its independence from Spain. You know, these idiot. You see these stupid. You believe that the military has authority over the president, or that he must get the military to agree? That, yeah, you said, yeah.
We have to follow regulation of policy. Right?
But the president sets the policy.
I understand what you're saying. He's not the only one that's in charge of the military.
Yeah, who else is in charge? Excuse me. Whoa. You're in the United States military? Who, other than the president? Oh, wait a second. Other than the president, who is in charge of the military?
Congress.
No, they are not.
Yes, they are.
No, this is really scary. How old are you?
I'm old enough.
How old? No, how old are you? How old are you? Oh my goodness. And this is where did you get this misinformation that you think that it is the Congress no. In fact, legislation doesn't even apply to the military. The commander-in-chief runs the military, not the Congress.
Either way.
Are you really in the military? What's your MOS?
My MOS?
No, mine.
I do.
Okay. So you know your MOS. So you're really in the military, and this is frightening to me. You're really this guy. No. Let me tell you. No. Oh my. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm frightened by you and your call. This is such a frightening call, and I'm going to tell you why. You are really in the military. All right? You are really in the military. You're not one of these stolen valors they call in and claim to be. You're in the service. You're in the Army. Okay? You do not understand the chain of command between the military and the civilian authority of the commander-in-chief. And the reason that you don't, you've been brainwashed by these never-Trumpers who want you to think, as a member of our military, that the president does not have authority over you. You don't listen to them. Who do you listen to? What's your rank? What's your rank?
Military.
Oh, now you don't know your rank?
Why does the rank matter?
Oh, okay. Now I'm not so frightened, because maybe you're not in the service. Maybe. Oh, okay. No, I'm so glad. No, you're not. You're another cosplay caller. What you're doing is still. No. You're not in the service. You just admitted it. You just said no. You just said no. You're not. You're stolen valor. What's your rank? Where's your rank? Oh, you were in the military. You're not telling us. What is that? What is that classified? You are? You just said you were.
Not to sit there and tell you my rank.
Why?
Answer that question.
No, of course, no. If you were in, you would tell me your rank. Why would you not reveal that? You told me your MOS. Why is the rank a secret?
I just don't feel like giving you my rank.
Why not? Because it's important.
If I told you I was an E7, then...
What's an E7?
Sergeant First Class.
How many stripes is that? Oh my goodness, he's got to think. You know what he was doing during that? He was Googling. Now he's looking. Now I'm not so scared, because he's not in the service, okay? If he was in the service and he thought that way, I'd be scared, because it shows that they've been effective in turning the military against the president, but he's not in the military. He's just another stolen valor caller, of which we've had many over the years. You know, it's amazing to me how many grown men have these fantasy lives that they try to live out on the air. But I'll tell you this, okay? This story, the reason this story, and I've got some other stories I want to get to. I was going to move on, but the caller brought it up, is there's a major plot going on, and now we have this new angle with the Chinese CCP son-in-law that put the chat together and added the Atlantic Reporter. So there's been a new addition to the story that's very important. Now, there's a local story out of Miami that I want to bring up, and my position on this may be a little different than what would normally be. Oh, I had it queued up and I just lost it here. There's a female police officer in Miami. It's hard to say what that means, because outside of South Florida, they think everything's Miami. So I don't know if it's actually the city of Miami. It looks like it might be. But a female police officer has been suspended. She sat in her car. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take some calls. A female police officer has been suspended after she sat in her car while a violent mob attacked a driver in the middle of the road. The incident happened last week in Miami. According to NBC6 in Miami, the man stopped in his car in the middle of the road in front of the police car. He got out of the car to talk to the officer. On his way back to his car, he was jumped by thugs who beat him with a bike and demolished his car, and there is video of this. The female officer stayed in her car while the man was brutally beaten. It wasn't until other officers arrived that the female cop got out of the car and walked over. Members of the Miami Police Department, so this is Miami, understand and take great pride in upholding the blah, 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 says the police chief. So she's been suspended. This story here with this Miami police officer illustrates one of the major reasons that there's, you don't hear about them too much because, you know, but since that Floyd era and BLM, why there are so many police-involved incidents. This lady police officer is DEI, okay? You should not have a female police officer alone in a cruiser anywhere on patrol, okay? You know, you have too many DEI cops that aren't up to the task. That's it. And the reason she didn't get out of the car, even though she has a gun, is she was scared. Just like that coward at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, who was scared of Nicholas Cruz. I don't know why that guy got acquitted. I can't believe. If I were on the jury, oh boy, at least it would have been hung because I would have gone guilty on that guy. You have too many cops that are scared. And I understand, okay? I mean, I wouldn't want to get out of my car and go after a bunch of thugs in the streets in Miami. Miami can be very dangerous, but I'm not a cop. And there are certain jobs where DEI is getting people killed, hurt, and putting them in danger. Like we found out, and this has disappeared, I mentioned this the other day, that Delta flight that crashed in Toronto, the preliminary report from the NTSB said that the lady co-pilot was at the controls and she screwed up and she crashed the plane. DEI. DEI. Next time I went to visit my daughter, I was going to fly Delta. They have some better flight times than JetBlue. Not anymore. I'm not flying on DEI Air. And this here, they're lucky no one got killed here. Guy got the tar beat out of him. Can you imagine you're just in the street and a group of gangsters like this start beating you with a bike and there's a cop right there and they're just watching you? That's DEI at work. And suspending her is the right thing to do, but they need to suspend the whole department. How many people like her are there? You know, when I was a kid growing up, the cops, you were scared of them. They were big and they didn't play. Now, the cops are afraid. You know, cops are like bouncers, big guys. You know, having big guys as cops saves lives. There's an intimidation factor. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our first break of the third hour. It's Thursday. I'm Brian. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now.
What are the spots for this hour? That's it? Yeah. Okay. If that guy was really in the military, I'd be scared that they brainwashed our military. If he was really in the service, he would have known that.
mention him. My husband and I can't say enough good things about Jupiter Joe and his staff.
I want to thank you for your kind words for Jupiter Joe Thomas. If you want to call Joe Thomas, I'm going to give you his number. It's a no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located. 561-743-0999.
If you want to call in, the number's pinned in the chat, all you keyboard big mouths.
And online at jupiterjoe.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM. Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM. Hear us on 95.3 FM. Fort Lauderdale on 96.
Alrighty, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Thursday, March 27th. I've covered a lot. You're welcome to call in about any and everything I brought up so far today. Our number, toll free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Oh, we've interrupted a conversation. This might be more interesting than what I'm talking about. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Brian.
Yes.
Sandra from Delray.
Hey, Sandra.
Sandra from Delray. Hi, how you doing? Remember you at Barry Siegel's seminar?
Oh, okay. It's good to see you there.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, in any event, the reason I'm calling is General Milley. It was written when he said to the Chinese, if there's any action, I will let you know ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it was not made a big deal of, because all the newspapers, the journals, they were all getting paid off by the Biden administration.
Well, remember Milley on January 6th, he called the head of the Chinese military. Yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah.
It was put undercover because Biden was paying off journalists, TV stations, and so forth. So they just swept it under the rug. That's a deal.
Oh, yeah.
Or a little thing happens and they make it so big. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I don't, so this conversation, I have a rule of thumb that I don't put much of anything in writing. And those of you that people email and text me and send me DMs, and some of my friends think I'm a jerk because my responses are like 2 words. If that. And I just have a rule. Like Al Knight, he's the weekend guy, right? He texted me a whole bunch of stuff this morning. It's not important. It's just some stuff. And I wrote him, sounds good. Okay? Tom Laporta, he and I talk all the time, right? On text. Here's my response to Tom. Tom wrote me a long thing. It's important. I said, thanks. Ian, our cruise guy, he and I, we text a lot. We're talking because we got the cruise coming up. These are just my texts yesterday. And Ian texts me a whole bunch of stuff, and I say, okay. And I don't put anything in writing. I just don't. And the reason I don't, it's not that I'm writing about anything that's nefarious. It's because when something's in writing, you lose context of what's being said, right? But when it can be inferred to mean things in all kinds of different ways. And I am just one word, 2-word answers is all you get for the most part on a text or an email or a DM from me. And it's not that I'm short or so my advice to everyone is don't have conversations in writing at all. Just don't.
What do you think of that? I mean, that was a big breach. That was.
What I think is this. Okay, so far as the text itself, we have some people that are tech savvy, but we have a Chinese spy working for Waltz. This Wong character. His father-in-law is a big to-do in the satellite industry of China and has been since '89, which is when was Tiananmen Square, right? Wasn't that like '89? So I mean, come on. So we got a Tiananmen Square era father-in-law of the guy that works for Walls that started the chat and added the guy. His name's Wong. And this is according to Laura Loomer. And I've never known Laura Loomer not to be 100% accurate on anything she's reported. So if Laura Loomer reports something, you can take it to the bank. And I believe she was given that story by someone from the administration. The reason I don't have her on, I could have her on, is because that's the one question I'd want to ask her, and I know she can't answer that because she's got to protect her sources. And so I'm not, it's a waste of time for me to ask her. So I'm just sharing what she has. But this guy's a Chinese spy. Now the question is, did the Trump team do this on purpose to smoke out a spy? Or what? I don't know.
Right.
All right.
Press is all over him. But when it came to the other administration, things were swept under the rug. It's terrible.
Because Democrats are like James Bond. They have a license to kill. All Democrat officials, they can kill, they can rape, they can take bribes. And when I say rape, Bill Clinton, right? He raped Juanita Broderick twice. He groped Kathleen Willey. And the things he did with Monica Lewinsky I can't even describe on the radio. Okay, they were so graphic. And he got reelected after all that, right?
Terrible.
All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. All right, once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay.
Wow, well, I think Laura Loomer did us a big favor, didn't she? She let us know, didn't she?
Let us know what?
What you reported this morning.
Yeah, that there's a Chinese spy. His name's Wong, and he works for Walls. Yeah.
Oh, so that means he wasn't vetted. He wasn't checked out ahead of time.
Well, I
was running around the White House.
Are you okay? Your voice sounds off today. Like, did you just wake up?
What does my voice have to... Oh, so you want to get off of what I'm talking about?
No, you just sound like... You know what you sound like to me? You sound like a phone sex worker, the way you're talking. I mean, you just kind of do, that's been up all night.
So...
Yes. Yeah.
You helped us out to let us know that Trump hired a bunch of people who haven't been vetted, let all these spies...
Well, no, I wouldn't say hasn't... Excuse me. I wouldn't say has not been vetted, but spies, you don't know someone's a criminal until they do a crime.
You're supposed to be vetted. You're supposed to have your whole background checked out. Obviously, they didn't...
Okay. So you believe... So this is interesting. Okay, so what are you suggesting? That people that are Chinese shouldn't be hired by the government at all? Chinese can't be trusted?
That's not what I said.
Oh, so you've been up a long time. You've been actually listening to the whole show.
I've actually listened today. I've been listening because I just love the way you're trying to spin this story. You're saying, and Laura Loomer told us, that the people have not been vetted. That the Chinese, and this guy had the Chinese listening too because he was on the line.
So, listen, you can't tell that someone's a criminal or a spy until they get caught. How? Because they're Asian?
We don't know what he is, but you're going by what Laura Loomer put out, aren't you? She said his father was this, his father...
Yes.
And we're going by...
Father-in-law.
Go by that before he got hired.
Well, perhaps it didn't show up on the screening, or there's another... he hadn't done anything that they knew of, and he seemed all right. Who knows?
Well, guess what? If that man didn't have that man's phone number in his phone, it wouldn't have never got on that chat.
Well, it looks like this Chinese guy put the number on the phone.
No, the phone number was already in this man's phone.
We don't know that. I don't think this was his personal phone. This was probably his government-issued phone.
See, that's what the big problem is. They were on personal phones on a...
Excuse me, Jay. None of that has been reported. You just made that up. No. When you are, excuse me, slow down. Slow down. The people that are in this chat, right? The vice president, defense sec, all these people, they're under Secret Service protection. They don't have a regular phone from Verizon or like you do or I do. They have government issue, like President Trump posts on social media, right? On his phone, it's not a regular phone from the Apple store. These are special phones that the government puts security on and issues.
Supposed to be doing government.
Not supposed to be? Not supposed to be? Well, this is interesting. Excuse me. Oh, you're trying to use my own lines against me? No, you're the one who took the short school bus. Listen, you're very lucky because I am over time on the break. I am late for the break, so your pain and suffering will end until next time. All right? Take care, Jay. Oh, my goodness. You know, Jay's been listening to the whole show because he was citing things that happened in the first segment right after 6 a.m. No wonder he sounds so groggy. He's been up all night doing God only knows what, and he can't go to sleep until 9 o'clock. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're gonna really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with
What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Good. Did you have anything you wanted?
Well, I'll tell you what. I was just listening to Maria Bartiromo this morning, and she had this guy, and I can't remember, one of the representatives. This is interesting, but this is right down our alley, your alley.
You heading to the golf course?
No.
Oh, you look like
I gotta go home and change.
Oh, you got home and change. Oh, okay. You look like you're going golfing.
Not today. I wish I was. Let's see. GOP reps reintroduce Fight China Act.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard about that?
No. What's
Establishes a comprehensive outbound investment screening regime to protect savings and retirement accounts. Creates targeted restrictions to ensure U.S. investors are not unwittingly financing the CCP's military capabilities. This is by Congressman.
So what does this have to do with the annuities?
Well, not really, but it's just the whole point is people with their 401ks are investing in stuff like this.
Oh, okay. I know exactly where to go with. I know exactly where to go with that. I know exactly where to go with that. Okay,
Yeah.
you got okay.
Just I thought it might be interesting.
Yeah, I know where to go with that.
We can
Yeah.
transition into it, you know.
Yeah, no, that's
But if you have
yeah.
something, whatever. I don't.
Well, I want to ask you about that because that's a good thing, and I know exactly where to go
It's the
with
same
that.
with the woke policies, DEI.
Mhm.
People have 401ks and they don't even know that they're funding
Yeah.
this stuff, you know?
And I was going to also ask you about how the income. Remember we were talking about that the other day? Yeah, people were asking about. But I'll start with that because I know where to go with that.
Oh, man. It's funny, the other day when I left, Tuesday, he came on afterwards, Jay.
Oh, did he?
And then he came on right before he came in today.
Yeah, he's waiting for you.
He calls every day.
No, but
Where's that guy from?
he says he's in New Jersey.
Oh, Jersey.
But a lot of people think he's a woman.
Oh, I thought it was Renee.
No, Jay. A lot of people think Jay. Maybe is it? What you guys let me know in the chat. Is it Jay or Renee that you guys think's a woman? I don't know. Oh, let me give you the mic.
To continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems.
I gotta remember to give his back so I'll take it with me.
Slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes.
Yeah, we used to have these corded microphones. We used to do this. We had this cable access TV show many years ago, and there was this one guy in here. He got really mad at us, and he storms out of the studio. But he had the mic on with the cord, and he got up and he got snapped back into the It was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, actually, I was watching.
It was on the TV show.
I was watching his Instagram video. The guy puts down a backpack. There's a backpack sitting on the ground, so the kid picks it up, puts it on, starts going down the street. The guy goes, "Hey, it's mine." The guy starts running. All of a sudden, it swings back. He's connected to it.
Oh my gosh.
To a rope.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's don't steal.
I had a guy years ago. I get into my car, and he thought I was parked too close to him in the parking lot, and he starts screaming at me. I'm with my wife and daughter. My daughter's like 5 or 6, and he's like, "F this, F that," and he was trying to instigate me, and he called the police.
Oh my God!
Can you believe? And he was, and I'm like, "Can you calm down?" And I got mad, so I was ready to hit him. So I opened up the door, and because I pulled out of the thing, and he's on the phone with the police. He's leaving. And I was like, "I'm right here." I jump out of the car. I'm going to punch. I had my seatbelt on, thank God. And it snapped me back in the seat. Because if it didn't, I would have been in trouble. I would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
That,
it's never a good thing when you get out of the car.
I've never done it before or since. That's not like me.
Judge Judy always says that when you watch Judge
Nothing good gives you get out of the car.
Judy. Yeah, once you get out of the car, man, it's over.
Well, he was one of those guys I could tell that instigates so he can sue people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never had the cops called on me, I don't think.
This guy was a professional cop caller.
911 on speed
Yeah.
dial, huh? I've been trying to listen to you as much as I can. When I walk the dog, I always get up in the morning and walk the dog, and I listen to you all the time.
Oh, I appreciate it.
It's good stuff. Oh, by the way, I called Laporta. He came over.
Oh, yeah?
His assistant did.
House or office?
House.
I mean, his crew are artisans.
Well, let me tell you what happened. He came over. We thought we had a leak from the roof. It's 25 years old, right? Or is there any roof? It was the AC ducts leaking.
Oh my goodness.
When we had new AC and they never reduced it. He says, all you gotta do is get that done. It cost me $200.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody else came in.
Any other, you'd have a whole new roof, and you still have the leak because of the ducts.
Exactly right. It would have been right.
Oh my goodness. I'll
Yeah.
bring that. We'll bring that up. That's
Honestly, yeah.
He'll never sell your roof you don't have. Yeah, that's amazing because the roofers are
Notorious for that. Yep. Yeah. I can tell you a story about roofs, but that's a whole other thing.
Now, back to the Steve Kane.
all right. Jupiter Joe Thomas is here, and welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
You know, the reason I always say Jupiter Joe's two reasons. So remember your website, jupiterjoe.com. And when you take financial advice, you want to take it from someone from Jupiter. I mean, come on. I mean, you know what I mean? And if those of you in South Florida know what that means. You were there's one thing I wanted to bring up to you, but you had mentioned something during the break, and I'm so glad you did, because this is been an old thing I have not talked about in a long time. You were talking about people that have their money in 401ks or other financial things with a broker. They don't know what their money's invested in. And I'll tell you a quick story. Someone I knew many years ago, they had a financial planner, and they invested in this and this and this and this. And they're a very conservative person, and they had them in a company that made equipment for abortions. And they were out of there. And this never occurred to me before, but a lot of times people are involved in investment plans or 401ks. They don't know what their money is invested in, and it's not unusual for people to have their money invested in companies that don't align with their morals.
Exactly. It happens every day, especially your 401k. You have no idea what it's invested in. That's why I say when you're not at your old job, your money shouldn't be there. Period.
Now that was an extreme example, I know, but maybe it's some woke policy that you're yeah.
It's the CCP we're talking about, where people are investing in China and they have no idea. Now,
That's right.
You want to invest in China? That's your business. That's fine.
Absolutely.
But just don't make it mandatory upon every employee that's in there, and it's costing them money. You know.
Well, the thing with 401ks, because you know what? Listen, if it sounds too good to be true, these 401ks. I did not know this until you told me, and this just blew my mind, that these generous employers that are helping you with your 401k are making money on all your transactions.
They're helping themselves too. They get a piece called the revenue sharing.
Yeah.
And when people don't believe me sometimes, you know, they listen to me on the radio, they go, no, that can't be true. They call up their plan administrator. First of all, they'll ask you, why are you asking that? And then second, they don't want to really disclose it. And they have to disclose it now by law. For years, that was never disclosed.
Yeah.
And it's 1 or 2% a year. So if you have $1 million in there, you're spending $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
And maybe you don't mind spending fees, but me, I would rather that money be in my fund working for me, not working for the guy that may have fired you, right? Yeah, that downsized you or something.
Exactly.
And you know, one of the things that you do, and this is important because a lot of people, they have their money in an old 401k with a former employer, and they leave it there for whatever reason. But they don't want to pick up the phone and call, and you got to call human resources, and they don't want to call human resources. Maybe they're the one that let you go, or maybe you just don't want to. But you handle that for people.
I actually had a gal who had been fired, and she had a lawsuit with her ex-employer. She said, "I can't call human resources to get my money. Can you do this?" And I said, "Yeah. Give me a power of attorney, financial power of attorney, limited power of attorney," and we did that. We called them. They said, "Hey, we need this information." They gave it to us, and then we rolled the 401k over.
And that sounds like a big deal, but they just sign a paper.
It's one piece of paper you sign.
Yeah, and one of the things, now this is another thing, and this is blew my mind too. A lot of you were telling me about this. You know, during the day on the radio station, you'll hear some messages with Joe and I, and we spent a lot of time recording that, and I was learning a lot about your business and what you do. There are people that have 401ks that they've forgotten about.
Oh yeah. I have a guy right now working in Georgia. He had 6 different 401ks. He just accumulated them. But the worst part was this, Brian. He was getting 0.45, less than 0.5%. We ended up rolling them all over, and he's getting now 5.5%.
And he's got his money.
And he's got his money in one place, and he knows where it is. And if he drops dead, to be honest with you, his wife knows where the money is. She didn't even, if something happens, if you don't know where your money is, how does your wife and your family know?
Well, that's a big deal because, you know, in most marriages that in mine, but in most that I know of, one of the spouses handles all the money.
Yes.
So the husband or the wife pass, and the surviving spouse doesn't know how much money they even have.
Happens every day.
Yeah, and how are you going to pay the bills if you don't know even what you have? And if you do, where is it and how to get to
Just
it?
changing a beneficiary. Some people get a job 30 years ago, and they never, it sounds crazy, there are people that have never updated their beneficiary. They forgot about it. We get busy. We're not looking at this stuff. They figure, okay, I'll do it one day when I retire, you know?
But you can help people find these lost and forgotten 401ks.
That's exactly what we do. We put it together for you. We show you how to do it. And we do it so you're not taxed. They're going to say you're going to have a 20% withholding. There's no withholding.
Because they don't want you to take the money out.
Exactly. We're going to roll it over for you, asset to asset transfer. There's no taxes, there's no fees, there's no charges, and we take care of it for you.
Do you hear that? It's pretty easy. Now, one last thing I want to talk to you about. And by the way, Joe Thomas offers no-charge phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. You call him up, he'll talk to you, and he'll put together a custom proposal for you based on your situation, your goals, and everything else. I've been asked by some people about this, and I do not know the answer to this. You know, with an annuity, you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. But how is that? Is it yearly? Is it quarterly? Is it monthly? How often do they get their revenue?
Usually it's monthly. Most people like monthly distributions. But we can make it annual for you, quarterly, any way you want. The insurance companies will pay you. They're good about that.
So some people do it every month.
Oh yeah, most people do it monthly because then they can take care of their expenses, you know, and it's an easier way to, you know.
And they know what it's going to be. You know, a lot of people that are retired that I know, and this is like the situation with my mother, but I know some other people. They're retired, everything's fine, their house is paid for, but they have their homeowner's insurance and their property taxes every year.
Once a year.
And the annuity, that's perfect for that.
I have some people that actually take it yearly just for that. They'll take it at the end of the year around September to pay all of those bills and taxes.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Or monthly for your HOA fees.
That too. And by the way, HOA with condos, oh my God, be careful out there. It's just crazy. I got a guy that's an inspector who told me he just went to a condo association, $100,000 assessment. These are people that don't make that kind of money. $100,000. I mean, this is crazy.
And you got to come up with the money. They get it's you know with
I just thought we're in South Florida, man. Everything's expensive. So extra income is a big deal. You know?
Well, you know, again, I'm not a financial advisor, and I do not give financial advice. But with what's going on with condos in this state, I would not own one. And if I had, you know, if you're out there and you're a renter, I would sell my condo, maybe put the money in an annuity. You know, first off, you don't have to deal with the assessment. You don't have to deal with the tenants. You don't have to deal with the taxes.
Right.
And you got that income coming in, just like you had a rental property. It seems and again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take my advice. You call Joe Thomas, you know, and talk to him. But to me, an annuity is better than a rental property because you don't have all those headaches.
Nope. And I've been there with renters, and it's not easy, believe me.
Now, one last thing, because you were telling me during the break, this is amazing, and you know, you called Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing.
I did.
And, you know, I've been telling you guys, Tom Laporta will never sew you a roof you do not need. And you had an experience that blew my mind.
100% true. I called him up. I said, hey, I'm going to use people that I know. And I don't know personally. I just know from the show. I said, let me give this guy a call. I gave him a call. He sent out his best guy. Once he heard it was Jupiter Joe, right? I'll be honest with you. He sent him out. He doesn't know me from Adam. And I said, hey, I got a leak in the roof, I think. There's some, you know, stains here. Well, he said, no, there's no stains, no leak. He said, you don't need a new roof. He says, your AC guy never put the ducting up correct or whatever. For $150 fix and no roof.
That's amazing. And if you're a roofer and you get a call from a guy in Jupiter, hey, this is your boat, your ship coming in,
my roof
right?
is $50,000, $60,000. You're looking for that roof. Really?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, this. Oh man, Jupiter, we're set up. We're going to Europe after this. But so we told you just had a leak from your AC duct, and so you guys, Tom Laporta will never sew you a roof you do not need.
100% on.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I would use them anytime. In fact, we're gonna go to Dr. Appleton, my wife as well. You know, it's like, you know, you have great people on the show, including myself, of course.
That's right. That's right. But listen, guys, call Joe Thomas and take advantage of this no-charge consultation he's offering, because you hear he's a top guy in the business, and the value of a free consultation with the top man in the business, that's worth something. If you were charging for that, it'd be you could charge quite a bit just for that consultation, and it's free to our listeners. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com. All right, Joe, I'll see you in a couple weeks because I'll be gone next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good time.
All right, if you're on hold, hang in there because we're gonna do the gold report, and then we'll come back to your calls. All right, William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with today's gold and precious metals report is here. William Youngerman, how the metals looking? Wow, this is amazing. And you know, you often say, and it's so important, that all the metals at your shop, William Youngman's in Boca, are available for immediate delivery. You know, can you just talk for a moment? It's so important to have physical possession of your metals, and that's why we highlight that so much. And I know people hear all kinds of crazy things out there, but you have that gold, you have that silver in your hand. That is real money, William Youngerman. Oh. And it's amazing how much money worth of gold you can hold in your hand. It's so easy to store. I don't know why people are not all in possession of their own gold. I mean, it's, how much gold can you hold in your hand? $300,000. Maybe I'll do that one day. All right, now listen, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. And remember, you can do all your business through William Youngman over the phone and through the mail. His number is 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or stop in. And his address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And find both his phone number and address on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. All right, take care. All right, back to the phones. We shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. All right, once, twice. All right, you lost your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, JJ, what's up? Well, let me tell you, I have an uncle who is a college professor who's he's a real liberal nutcase, but he's an expert in China, and he spent a lot of time in China. If I were up for any type of security clearance, I would tell them immediately about my uncle, and they would do all kinds of investigations about it. And I haven't even seen him in like 30 years. If you're someone whose father-in-law is big with the CCP and is involved in their satellite industry in the 80s, come on. That's hardcore commie stuff. Well, remember Dianne Feinstein? Dianne Feinstein had that aide that was with her for 20 years who was a CCP spy. Well, here's the thing about America, and you see this time and time again. We're the most diverse country in the world, okay? And the enemies use our diversity against us. Because, I know Chinese people, I know Asian people, I know of different nationalities, and I don't think they're all spies, But there are some instances where, My guess is that the phones they have are probably NSA phones. Okay, they can't have regular phones because it's a security risk. Okay, and part of this Signal app security is that they have special phones, but Signal is probably a CIA company. I wouldn't be surprised, so that they can monitor everything they do, all the time to find dirt. But this guy here. Should be hauled in and put under the lights. Yeah. But I don't understand why they blew the cover at this point, if what we're saying is true. Well, there's another. You're right about all that, but it's also possible they're trying to get a mole in the cabinet, get rid of Hegseth or Waltz, and Nikki Haley is all of a sudden, in the administration. They don't have anybody giving them information like they used to have, or sabotage. Listen, I got to run, but great call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, Steve. What's up? What? Well, yeah, Laura Loomer. I got finish. You mean Ingram? Okay, listen. Time is short. Okay, Laura Loomer is a good friend of mine, and I've been friends with her for years. Okay, I have never known Laura Loomer to report a story that she ever had to retract or walk back. Her reporting, by the time she goes with something, she's done so much research and vetting. She's 100% accurate.
Laura Ingram.
Ingram. You don't even know what you're talking about, Ingram. Well, wait a minute. The information, I retweeted Loomer's detailed story, okay? You guys, Brian Craig Show on X, you guys can read the whole thing from Loomer. She's very detailed. Just because something's a conspiracy doesn't mean it's not true.
Well, so you don't believe what you heard on Fox News from
he was not aware. He was either not aware of this information at the time, or they're running a covert op. Now, before we continue, I want to excuse me. I want to tell people about Dr. Appleton. And I'm not going to let you go. We'll talk after. Joe Thomas, he just said he's going to go see Dr. Appleton with his wife. Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain 7 times. 7 times. From multiple shoulder injuries, arthritis, knee problems, and every single time he's treated me, not only has he rid me of pain, the pain has never returned. The laser wave pain treatment, the way it works is it treats the damage in your body that's causing you pain and heals you. It is 100% painless. You don't even feel it when it's happening. There's no shots, no injections, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime, and no appointment necessary with Dr. Appleton, even on Saturdays. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain, like I've done 7 times. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. So here's my question to you, Never Trumper Steve. Give me a story that Laura Loomer has reported that's ever been debunked.
Oh, don't set me up like that. How about the illegal immigrants who were not illegal to begin with? They were illegally here in this country in Springfield, Ohio, are eating cats and dogs.
No, you meant okay. You didn't hear the question. A story she's reported that's been debunked. That's not been debunked. That has not been debunked. No, it has not. Nope, it has not been debunked. It has not been debunked. There's been denials. But it's never been debunked. Nope.
Police chief in that area says no calls have come.
Oh, the local politician from a two-horse town that's getting paid by the Biden regime. Give me a break.
Let's get here.
Not debunked.
Why did Wall have the reporter's phone number in his phone? That would be a little.
Well,
credibility. Staffer is involved. You know,
President Trump said the same day of the Laura Ingraham interview that it was a Walt staffer. Now we know. It's this Chinese guy.
Started that conspiracy theory. But yesterday you...
Listen. A conspiracy does not mean it's not true. You understand that, right?
Slow down a little bit. Slow down. Trump yesterday, not full-throated, I'll give you that, a little bit was turning slightly on Walls. Like they, he was kind of... Trump doesn't like the fact that the phone number of the reporter was in Walls' phone. He sung the praises of the defense secretary, minimizing Walls a little bit. Walls, to replace Walls, you don't have to have...
Oh, you're hanging... You Democrats are hanging onto the ledge right now and everything. Listen, we're out of time. We're out of time for today, Steve. I'm out of time for today. Listen, tomorrow is Open Phones, Open Mega Mic Friday, and it's also our last show live before the cruise. So tomorrow's Open Phones. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And if you're on hold, you'll be first in line. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, guys, listen. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already sub, please like and share the video. All right? Take care. Thanks for watching.